Dokdo lies at the easternmost point of Korea. It is here that the first rays of sun fall on Korean soil. The island that guards the history of Korea's eastern border. To Koreans, Dokdo is a land that represents purity, a new beginning, and peace. However, Dokdo's tranquility is threatened once more. Who is threatening this peace, and why? Dokdo is Korean territory. It was part of Korea, and it is still part of Korea. But the usually calm East Sea is being disturbed by Japan's re-emerging claim of sovereignty over Dokdo. Japanese ambassador to Korea Takano Toshiyuki speaking in Seoul.
Historically and legally part of Japanese territory.
And in March 2005, Japan's Shimane Prefecture Assembly passed a bill designating February 22nd as Takashima Day. Takashima is Japan's name for Dokdo. To understand how disturbing it is to see Shimane Prefecture once again laying claim to Korean territory, one has to know the past. Like visits to the Asukuni Shrine, Japan's provocation over Dokdo has become an annual event. The Japanese government announces plans to carry out a hydrographic survey in waters off Dokdo. It was an announcement to invade and investigate the waters near Dokdo, which is clearly under the effective rule of Korea. Unlike mere claims over Dokdo in the past, this was clearly a provocation challenging Korean sovereignty. Foreign media worldwide have weighed in on Japan's actions. Japan's claim of sovereignty over land once seized by its imperial forces was deemed a provocation of Korea and other Asian neighbors. Ulongdo and Dokdo, Korean islands together in the blue East Sea. Dokdo is a small volcanic island about 87 kilometers from Ulongdo, Korea, and about 157 kilometers from Japan's Oki Islands. Although Dokdo is mostly rugged land, it has stark natural beauty. It is home to a variety of wildlife. Dokdo represents Korea's eastern edge along with Ulongdo. How long has Korea ruled Dokdo? Since the ancient Shilla dynasty, the first unifiers of the peninsula gained control of Ulongdo in the 6th century, Dokdo has always been Korean territory. Ever since Korean kingdoms started to produce maps, Dokdo and Ulongdo have been marked as Korean territory. The Meiji government that took power in 1867 acknowledged the fact that Dokdo is Korean territory in its own documents. Japan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs report from 1870. This document, a report on Dokdo's long status as Korean territory, proves that Japan once considered Dokdo to be Korean territory. The Dajokan Directive of 1877. Dajokan Directive is a document written by the Dajokan, Japan's Great Council of the State, in reply to an inquiry by the Ministry of Home Affairs of Japan regarding the inclusion of Dokdo on Japanese maps and land registries. It clarifies that Ulongdo and Dokdo are not Japanese territory, but part of Korea. Japan's historic records also show that Dokdo is Korean territory. Then why is Japan denying its own history and claiming Dokdo as its own? What is the motive behind Japan's claims? Why has Japan continued to claim its sovereignty over Dokdo, even by distorting historical fact? Why has Japan tried to label the island as a disputed area?
지금 일본이 독도에 대한 권리를 주장하는 것은 제국주의 침략 전쟁에 의한 점령지의 권리, 나아가서는 과거 식민지 영토권을 주장하는 것입니다. 이것은 한국의 완전한 해방과 독립을 부정하는 행위입니다. 또한 과거 일본이 저지른 침략 전쟁과 학살, 40년간에 걸친 수탈과 고문, 투옥, 강제징용, 심지어 위안부까지 동원했던 그 범죄의 역사에 대한 정당성을 주장하는 행위입니다.
In regards to President Nomu-hyun's speech, Japan is claiming that the Dokdo issue is not an issue of history. However, Japan's recent territorial disputes with neighboring countries are clear examples of Japan's attempt to justify its past misdeeds, which naturally evokes concern from neighboring countries. Why does Korea consider Japan's provocation a serious historical issue? Let's go back 100 years. In February 1905, Shimane Prefecture, the closest part of Japan to Dokdo, posts a notice that it is renaming Dokdo as Takashima and reserving jurisdiction over it. This is one of Japan's main bases for its claim of sovereignty over Dokdo. Why would Imperial Japan use Shimane Prefecture to lay claim to Dokdo? In 1894, Japan staged a war on the Korean peninsula with China, the then Qing Empire. It was a war for control of Korea, which was weakening due to its delay in modernizing. This marked the beginning of the Japanese imperialist invasion of the Korean peninsula. Japan, having secured hegemony over Korea with its victory in this war, prepared for war with its last remaining rival, Russia. February 1904, Japan launches a preemptive strike on Russia's Far Eastern Fleet in Rison, sparking the Russian-Japanese War. Although the Korean government declared neutrality 2 weeks before the attack, the Japanese government ignored the statement of neutrality and ordered its forces to land at Incheon, Korea, the same day. The Japanese forces moved quickly on Seoul. In its preparations for war against Russia, Japan was planning to use the Korean peninsula as its front line. By forcing Korea to sign the Korea-Japan Protocol, the Japanese were able to expropriate Korea's land at will. In August, Japan placed Korea's economy and diplomacy under its ostensive control. The people that resisted the Japanese were brutally murdered by the Japanese army. The only thing left for Japan was all-out maritime war with Russia. In the fight against the Baltic Fleet coming from the south and the Vladivostok Fleet from the north, the Korea Strait and surrounding waters became the key strategic point. Japan constructed watchtowers at these points of strategic importance, and the last key spots of these observation points were Korea's Ulleungdo and Dokdo, right in the middle of the East Sea. After setting aside part of Dokdo's neighboring island Ulleungdo for military use in September, Japan constructed 2 lookout towers to observe the Russians. Japan built a watchtower on Dokdo, at that time a part of Ulleungdo's administrative